Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gears Pro League Split 3, Day 6. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Jacob VVPR. One series down, second series about to be underway. We get Team Queso, we get RushieZ. You'll love to see it.
I definitely do. Team Queso roster, but slowly but surely getting better week after week. Even with a sub in there, they're still finding a way to have a consistent challenge in a lot of their matchups versus RushieZ, a team. Honestly, a lot of their players are looking to have an MVP season.
I think so. I mean, RushieZ has been flawless. Like, that's just the way to say it. They're undefeated. They're first place in Pro League now. They're 4-0. No one's been able to stack up against them. And for good reason. I mean, they really are flawless. In fact, they even won an E-Days a couple of weeks back where, you know, they look great doing so. Granted, E-United, RushieZ, they continue to go neck and neck in E-Days. Fun series. Check that on UMG Gaming on Thursdays, 5 Eastern time. But let's get into it. Let's talk about our first roster, Team Queso, and what makes them special. You got Jaled, Cristalize, Sleeafer, and Problems.
Honestly, I feel like we've been saying it week after week. They have a good balance of the old heads that are smart strategy, but still get their hands dirty, and the new young guns, Problems and Jaled, that are really trying to take form and make a name for themselves as some of the big slayers when it comes to Gears esports. And I keep saying the old heads, but Sleeafer, every single time he has a power whip in his hands, he looks like he's a young gun still. He looks like he's still fresh to the table.
Oh, yeah, Sleeafer, incredible player in his own right. Problems, big fan of that guy. My only concern from him is he's not, you know, really the lead, you know, slayer on that roster. It's funny, when you think about Problems and you talk about Problems, you know, at least what comes to mind for me is his ability to pop off and make really big plays. But then you look at the stats, at least on control, and he's got the lowest KD. It's 0.67. Just behind that of Nero, well, Nero's a sub, excuse me, but 0.67. But the point is, Problems might need to step it up on control when it comes to the slaying department. I'll be keeping my eye out for him, but Sleeafer looking just as strong. But let's talk about the familiar faces of RushieZ. 4-stack that has been together now for several splits. You got RushieZ, Avexys, DeTox, and INZEM. INZEM, I can't speak highly, or even more highly about this guy. I mean, this guy is truly back in his old form, right? Where he used to pop off and make those big, chaotic plays. You're seeing that now day in and day out.
And honestly, this squad, and I like it, like I said, they're looking at that MVP caliber season. And the thing that makes them so special is that they're such good friends with each other outside of the game. You can catch these guys watching things together, whether they're on YouTube, watching VODs, playing some other games, or just simply chilling in a Discord call. And I think that's what goes unnoticed about this roster. And plenty of rosters do that same thing, but these guys have been doing it for so long, even when these guys weren't necessarily on the same roster. They're that close of friends. And I think this season, that's going to take form over everything else.
Hey, having friends is a big factor. You like playing with the people you play with each day, you know, day in and day out. That can carry you pretty far. It did on that old Hive roster INZEM was on. They were all the best of friends. In the interviews, would consistently ask him, you know, what do you owe your success? And he's like, look, we're all friends. We all grind together. We play together. That makes a big difference. Good call out, Jacob. But let's talk about somebody who really has been impressive. We talk about INZEM, we talk about Avexys and DeTox, but let's talk about RushieZ. Look at this guy's stats.
Yeah, honestly, this guy has been pressing me most of all. He's taking form. I'm not too concerned with the damage per 10 minutes or the KDA. I'm at least glad he has 25% or more. If he had less than that, I would be a little concerned. But this stat shows exactly what type of player RushieZ is. He's not scared to get his hands dirty. He's not scared to be the tip of the spear and be that playmaker the team knows him to be, a part of the roster. But you can also catch him across the map by himself, still being that annoying player we know he can be, and it's taken form. I remember, you know, being a part of that Ghost Gaming championship roster, watching from the sidelines during boot camps, during scrims, and during actual championship matches. He is taking that same form with how annoying of a player he can be, and I don't mean that in a bad way. People that play Gears of War, when you're going against that annoying player, it's because they have you shut down.
Gaming's interesting. The terminology we use, is like, you're annoying. Okay. But that's a good thing, but
want him on
like
my team.
Exactly. Because he is that guy who's, likes to hide in the shadows, none more, I think, than Regency. He does that incredibly well, time in and time out. So RushieZ, though, a player that has been on this Rise roster for, quite some time now, playing, shoulder to shoulder with the Avexys. Obviously, DeTox has been there. INZEM joined in the last split, but I mean, glad he's here. He's been unstoppable. He really has been. Let's take a look, though, at our pick in bans. Of course, starting off with the bans: Spire, District, Canals, Afira, and Harbor. So Harbor, no-brainer. You don't want to play Rise there. Team Queso says, let's get that out of the way. Canals, also, again, another no-brainer. Rise might not be a fan of dual snipes, but Avexys has said, look, nobody is out-sniping me on Canals, and that's on God. And he's made that possible, and he's showed that time in and time out. And District, though, honestly, Team Queso is a great District team, so that ban does kind of confuse me.
I mean, see, I like that, the way you're thinking and where your head's out, but I wish I had some sort of soundboard so I can give Team Queso a round of applause on these bans. You take out District, Canals, and Harbors, that is Rise's best maps on each one of those game modes.
Well, let's take a look at the maps that we're actually going to be playing on. Reactor. Rise has been playing that map very well, so no surprise they picked that for their first. Team Queso, they love Clocktower. Execution on Clocktower, it fits their play style, fits those players. Sleeafer is great there as a beautiful flex player, or the guy to get your sniper. Vasgar, we knew it was coming around, okay? Vasgar is played all the time, it seems. And then Ritual and Checkout. Gotta be honest with you, I'm liking these maps for both rosters. I think each roster got a bit of what they wanted.
Yeah, honestly, I'm liking these maps for both these rosters as well. It almost screams momentum. It's a momentum on Reactor. You're able to get it. You can hold on to it, especially if you're able to hold the spawns that give you the high ground. Clocktower, very flexible. It gives you options. If you have momentum, you're going to be feeling yourself and make those plays that matter most. Vasgar, we know how aggressive it can be. Ritual, check. This screams momentum if you can catch fire.
Momentum is a thing in Gears, man. It is a thing in Gears. I think more so, Team Queso is the one who has to, catch momentum, right? They're the ones who, they've got a tall task ahead of them. I mean, to give Rise their first loss, Jacob, that's not going to be easy. And Team Queso is a roster that has proven that they can take teams the distance, but are they a roster that can not only take Rise the distance, but beat them? I got to be honest with you, I don't know. So let's go ahead and talk about our predictions and who we're going with. Jacob, you started out before. Tonight, I'm going to keep it simple. Rise Flexions. He's back in the building. He went somewhere, took a little bit of a vacation, but he's back because I'm truly a believer of Rise at this point.
Yeah, honestly, no matter how good Team Queso looks, and they're looking fan-freaking-tastic, Reflections. Let me tell you that. It doesn't matter what map it is. If Sleeafer can get a power weapons in his hands, he's somebody you have to watch out for. But I said it when we were looking at the roster. Every player on this Rise squad is looking like they're having an MVP caliber performance as individuals. That's bleeding over into the teamwork aspect. Even though I think Team Queso banned away some of Rise's best maps, I don't think that's going to slow them down one bit. Rise, I think, has the potential to take this map and the series 3-0.
So, Jacob, you're going with Rise. Clearly, production didn't catch the whole Rise Flexion speech, all right? But I'm going with Rise, all right? So put me down for Rise. And chat, I'm pretty sure you're going to be going with Rise here as well. And look, we're smart here, right? We're all on the same page. We were on the same page for the first series. We were all wrong. So now we're going to be on the same page once again for Rise. And we might be wrong again because Team Queso is a roster you don't want to bet against because they're strong. But we got to bet against them anyways. We have to pick one. It's had to happen. So that's okay. That's okay. Keys to victory, Jacob. What does Team Queso got to do?
Honestly, Team Queso is going to have to come out of the gate very, very early and start their campaign over this Rise. Get aggressive, make them second-guess themselves, and make them roll back into their teamwork and not do that aggressive strategy in which they love them to do. Because Rise is one of those teams throughout every single season, no matter what matchup it is, and I think a couple of teams during E-Days and their victory road kind of felt it. They could be down 0-2 in a series. They have the potential to come back at any moment. So Team Queso, they have to shut down that comeback potential by just going and just hitting it full gas, full force every second of the way against this Rise squad.
Well, I mean, full force. What a map to do that. And then on Reactor, a lot of CQC fights. The Team Queso can, really flex their slaying muscles and take it to RushieZ. But they're going to have to take it to RushieZ because you mentioned RushieZ being annoying. I said Regency, sure. But I mean, RushieZ is also annoying on Reactor. I mean, he has proven time in and time out that if you don't keep your head on a swivel, he's going to be right behind you, ready to get the chunk. And he's been doing that so incredibly well. I knew the turning point for RushieZ on Reactor was when they were consistently beating teams like Rebel, who loves Reactor. They always had that slaying power to hit him hard. And you know what? When they started beating Rebel, I kind of took note and was like, okay, RushieZ, I see you. You worked hard on Reactor, and now it's paying off.
Yeah, that's a good point right there, and that's the learning lesson, because you got to imagine when Reactor was first put in the cycle, teams are banning it away left and right. It was those Latin American rosters that really made it a map and really brought it into the cycle. Even though it was already in the cycle, they're the ones bringing it to life, picking it, giving teams, I wouldn't call it practice, but giving them those reps to kind of feel how the map plays. Otherwise, we might see an auto ban on the map. And RushieZ, they have that play style, that very, very aggressive play style. We always talk about when DeTox got added in, you take away a little bit of strategy because franchise departs the roster. Right. You bring in a meta style player, that aggressive meta into DeTox, which kind of alleviates pressure all around. With more time underneath their belt since that acquisition of DeTox, you can see they're just always getting better and improving each and every time they take the battlefield.
And also, too, not to mention a new meta or new storyline, that comes into play at the beginning of Split 3. We know there's only going to be 2 splits left. This split and then the next split, Split 4. And we know there's only 2 majors left. And for RushieZ, they've been in gears for a long time at this point, Jacob, and they still have yet to win a major. And Avexys has been the most loyal RushieZ teammates really all the way through. He's been there since the very beginning, and he's been repping this roster for the longest time. So he knows with 2 majors, okay, I need to get to work and I need to get serious, okay? He wants this next major, and he wants to once again also be in first place for Pro League. So I think Avexys, DeTox, INZEM, RushieZ, like they know we're playing for not only ourselves to win another major, but also for, because I think RushieZ is the only one who's won a major, right? If I'm not mistaken, unless DeTox has. Yeah, it's just,
no,
it's
I know
RushieZ.
INZEM won a mid-split playoff.
He won an MSP, yeah.
Depends on how you. I
right.
called that a major because the best teams are there,
yeah.
but technically it's not a major. So I mean,
right.
You can't beat a technicality.
Yes, you can't. And fun fact, Sleeafer's having a little bit of connection issues. That's another key talking point. The only reason why I bring that up is because Team Queso is a roster that has taken teams to distance, but one, reoccurring theme, and I hate that it's a theme and even a talking point, but it is, since day one, Sleeafer's internet connections has been terrible, so we've always questioned if Sleeafer's connection is solid, would Team Queso be able to put up a fight to beat, some of the titans in Pro League so far?
Yeah, because they're taking form of a very, very similar Rebel roster to, I almost want to call it years ago, back when Exhibit was even in the cycle, to where they had that kind of pseudo 6-man roster, and then they had that 5-man roster where they were subbing players in and out. I didn't know why they were doing that. Maybe it was dependent on map, maybe it was dependent on feeling, but this is something that isn't necessarily planned by Team Queso, but it's kind of taken form, because you even said it themselves. Nero has his stat line, which is better than Problems when it comes to controls, and honestly,
he's the sub.
No, he is a sub, but that's a little concerning for Problems as an individual, because you can't let the stuff outstat you. Even though stats don't tell the full picture, Sleeafer is lagging out. Problems probably playing a different role than what he does in the scrims, but at the end of the day, Problems has to step it up here, and it makes it hard. The reason why I'm bringing that up, because it makes it hard with Sleeafer lagging in and out to find that consistent comfortability when you are that main slayer, and you kind of rely on someone like Sleeafer to have that support fire for you.
Valid points all around. While we figure out what's going on with Sleeafer and if he's going to be able to, get everything figured out, we do have a side station matchup, our only side station matchup of the night. Kansas City Pioneers versus Abuelos. Another great matchup where Abuelos has shown that they can, take teams to distance. KCP kind of been hit and miss at times. They've got some good victories, but they've also showed that they can let some maps go. And that was represented last night against Pittsburgh Knights when they showed some, extra love towards, a certain flag, and then they ended up losing that checkout, but they won the series. But let's see how it ends up unfolding, right? Abuelos, KCP, let's get it going.
Yeah, you can already see it's like at the start of this one, not missing too much of the action other than Pioneers in about a 30-point lead, and Now forced to retake it through the defense. Solar's going to take down Brawny. They're chasing down handles as well to keep it staggered in their favor. A trade in downs, but overall, it's going to be Abuelos who come out on top in the actual battles. But the spawn point, the high ground, for a moment looked like it's going to go over to the Pioneers, but great stop yet again by Abuelos.
Great stop indeed. You know, I mentioned RushieZ being a great Reactor team. I think KCP is also up there too. And maybe RushieZ is a bit better on Reactor, but KCP could be a strong second. But either way, they love their up close and personal fights, and Abuelos does too. One thing that I like about Abuelos is they have great teamwork, but they also have the ability to pop off as individuals. And I think no more than Xavi and Solar. And Xavi with the torque bow, we just seen him get a kill a little bit earlier. He's got 1 bolt to his name. This matchup looks to be relatively close, 65 to 55, but let's shift our attention to the left-hand screen. Reactor as well, same map, so you don't have to adjust too much, but 2 different teams, Team Queso and RushieZ. Sleeper figured it out. Let's get it going.
Yeah, you can already see the players of Team Queso going deep, trying to take down RushieZ. And they do. They find the elimination. DeTox has to know somebody's still in the hill, so he's going to reposition. Not bite off more you can chew. Play from the outside in and try to suffocate your opponent.
Strong start for Team Queso off the rip. Good job on their part, or at least from their perspective. And I think RushieZ is going to... and try it once again. With the way RushieZ was charging, I had to look down. Does he have a retro? Like, he was charging like strongly. I thought he was trying to earn himself another $5 because he earned like 20 in the last D-Days.
Yeah, I was about to say, as soon as players start to realize you can cash in from Colin, the Bank Clark, they're going to start making more use of that retro charge, or at least when they're able. RushieZ bouncing around. Cristalize not holding down on the same target. RushieZ using each other as shields. This is just absolute greatness at its finest. But you can see the damage from Sleeafer. He's not letting up off the gas, holding down the DPS, accidentally misrolls, but it's not going to cause too much chaos because Jaled picked up a big double kill. But let me eat my words right now because the big double kill has been answered back by Avexys.
Woo, I love it. Cristalize now 1v2. He'll roll out, and actually a team kill will come in. Brother, before I get on my soap opera, man, I know mistakes happen, but every series now, every series you watch, there's a team kill. I have seen more team kills in Split 3 than any other split to date.
Wait, I'm just waiting to see if Cristalize gets up. Both of those revives are actually going to be had by Team Queso, so they're going to be able to stand tall with the high ground. Double downs on a couple of RushieZ players, not able to clean them up just yet, but Avexys, as soon as he steps in, the damage comes out by Team Queso. All members of RushieZ, except for DeTox, onto the respawn screen, but he will soon be followed, barring any miracles. Another team kill. Reflections, I heard that. You slammed your desk.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, team kills are like rampant in Split 3, bro. Again, mistakes happen, but I've seen games at this point be costed because of a team kill. I don't know what it is. It may be the speed at which these guys are playing it now, or just how scrappy it's been, or maybe with how chaotic and competitive like the teams are in Split 3, but it's wild to see. So a team kill counter at this point is now 2. Like, we'll see how high it can stack up. But 77 to 38, RushieZ in control of the current hill so far. Team Queso, they're going to try and break in from the low end. Avexys, though, will shut Sleeper down. But Jaled will get an answer back with his own nade, taking Avexys out of the way. So now it's knuckle up, man. It's Nashers out. Let's see who's going to win it.
Bombs gets revived by Cristalize. Wolfpack looking pretty good as DeTox goes down. I was going to say INZEM too, but RushieZ the player to watch, making the saving play onto his teammate back-to-back as he ends up with another down. 60 seconds up for grabs, and RushieZ and INZEM will not be stopped. Avexys wants the piece of the pie as well, as all 3 members get a big, crucial elimination to take over the hill. And the thing is, you look at the top side of the map, you got DeTox blocking the spawn point, so they will be able to hold on to the high ground as well.
55 now to 92. RushieZ is catching up. This hill has been hugely successful, and you can see all of those tracer rounds being shot out. Those are beautiful Lancer lanes from RushieZ. The teamwork is fantastic. When I think of teamwork, the first team that I think of is RushieZ. And, that kind of tapered off a little bit when DeTox joined into the mix. We saw him get a bit more aggressive, but it's definitely back in full form, and everybody on the same page. And who knows, like you mentioned before in the talk before we headed into the series, everybody on RushieZ, I mean, they're all great friends. You know, they all have great chemistry, and maybe they can just execute plays like Blaze says. Some of the best teams don't even need to call out or discuss what they're going to do. They already know what they need to do.
Something that you can't teach. Something you can't show your teammate. It comes with experience. It comes with playing each other, knowing how they not want to play not only Gears, but all the games. Because I know RushieZ likes to play aggressive no matter what he's playing. That's something that bleeds through game to game because it's who he is, an aggressive monster as he shuts down Cristalize and getting yet another torque bow in Avexys' hands. And I love the way everybody at RushieZ are playing into the role is absolutely perfect to where they know they can grab the torque bow. RushieZ is a monster, but he can get it in his hands, but it's Avexys, it's Jay. This guy is just that all-around jack of all trades, so you want to lean into that.
Ooh, nice shot.
Man.
I don't think that connected, but the splash damage was enough. Yeah, to take down Cristalize. So, well done. Does it help out DeTox? Not so much, but even so, Avexys is able to walk up and at least get Jaled out of the way. So now, RushieZ, they've got a little bit of real estate ahead of them where they can, well, actually, they don't. Excuse me. They don't need to push forward. They're controlling the hill and center. So, DeTox will go to back up. Avexys hits yet another shot. Problems, who thought he was pushing in with a teammate, now has to, you know, kind of take a step back. And Avexys gets another shot, but he's got two more players in front of him, and I do believe he might be out of torque. So Snub is going to be out. You got Problems, and Christu's going to be up ahead, but the nade will take down Sleeafer. Problems now is back. You had torque bow, you had team fire, you got Nasher work, you got the nades as well. I mean, everything was utilized to perfection from RushieZ as Team Queso failed their second retake attempt.
And you can see the moments here. You can see them. Jaled gets another double kill on one side of the map. It's just the failure to chain them together on a consistent level with teamwork. As Avexys, he's going to shut down Jaled. They're just trying to stretch outwards, get spawn points that'll give them high ground for the next hill.
All right, 132 to 100, very close. Problems looking to make a move. That stun is going to help and at least allow for Problems and Jaled to push up. Avexys tries to back away. He gets taken down, but he's right back into the fight. And Problems and Jaled will lose their life. INZEM will also double back to take down Cristalize, who was trying to sideswipe. I mean, Jacob, look at how far RushieZ pushed out to take Team Queso down before they can even find any real estate at all. But, I mean, it's a give and take. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, you push out and you secure the torque bow, but you also left RushieZ by himself in a 1v3.
It's okay. They told him to stay alive. It's okay. This is calculated by RushieZ on this side of the map. RushieZ can't get stuck. Avexys going to go down, though. DeTox, the player with the torque bow, puts it to use, narrowing this down to a 3v3, but that third player from Team Queso is on the flank. Splash damage is there. INZEM gets taken out by Cristalize from the low ground. That is a massive play. Something that'll honestly demoralize you a little bit or have you at least scratching your head.
Enemy contact!
INZEM moving up with his teammate. Sleeafer just going to be off in the corner. Nasher out. INZEM will take him, but he's got to clear his left. There was a short moment of Problems misrolled, but even so, Problems gets up and is able to stay up. INZEM had a chance to finish him, but instead he chose to go down selflessly and pick up DeTox. But was the pickup worth it? I guess in a lone scheme it wasn't, as Team Queso will get or might get to the last remaining 20 points.
I'm still thinking about that Cristalize chunk over the top of the cover onto INZEM. That's big because INZEM has an opportunity if he stays alive to kind of lock down the angle with the rest of his team, as Avexys is just trying to put the damage there. Knows he has teammates that are trying to back him up, and that's RushieZ counter flash, but they separate too far from DeTox. One's going to go down. Same thing happened to Team Queso as Sleeafer. He gets baited in, taken down. Avexys falls. The teamwork is still there from Team Queso. RushieZ trying to shut it down on the individual level, and this is going to come down to INZEM versus Cristalize, with both teams having reinforcements spawn directly behind them.
160 to 127. It's still close, but RushieZ has held on to that lead. Team Queso has yet to take the lead, at least in the later portions of the game as we transfer past the halfway point. A lot of fire up ahead. The shock will also keep Cristalize locked in place. RushieZ has done a really good job at pushing Team Queso back when they try to get the ball rolling, but this time around, does Jaled make some headway? And he will with Cristalize in conjunction. So well done. Jaled picks up 2. Cristalize was laying down the cover fire. Team Queso, how many points are left? 42. So they won't recover the lead, but they'll still keep it competitive, which they've been doing consistently since the start.
Always just keep him within grasp because once this gets towards end game, it's anybody's chance. You catch fire at the right moment. That's the only moment people are going to remember at the end of the day as the score continues to get dwindled down. Sleeafer trying to backtrack and get out alive to make this push worthless, but he gets caught out. Another team kill. INZEM takes out DeTox and falls immediately after. Jay gets one, but he gets chunked out immediately after as well. I think Team Queso has done just enough to bring this within reach. One more team fight, they will take the lead.
All right, Team Queso, the opportunity is here. You heard Jacob say it. One more good team fight, and you can take the lead. RushieZ, though, they are solidified on the hill so far. So plenty of time for Team Queso to talk it out, though. It's going to be some splash damage. 2 more bolts remain. Sleeafer and Problems are going to be attacking from the left-hand side. Cristalize with the Hail Mary shock. I think he's trying to split RushieZ's ability to be able to backtrack. In fact, Problems will feel more confident to push up. The splash damage is going to hurt. That's a great connection. RushieZ still has 2 members inside, but Team Queso is making great strides to break the hill. But great strides doesn't mean you finally have the hill, right? They still have to work for it, and they're still on the outside. I mean, RushieZ is keeping them at bay, and RushieZ has a beautiful angle.
Yeah, great angle here. Didn't matter how many eliminations they got stuffed. They get denied entry, unable to take the inches towards the hill, but they find out Avexys. That's going to give him a 4v3, but RushieZ, the damage he's putting out is so immense. He gets another down. Jaled, Problems, everybody falling on the side of Team Queso, and it's because of the pressure RushieZ is putting on him towards the backside, and the narrow passes those stairs possess just kind of allowed RushieZ to use the few numbers they had, but shotgun mixed with the Lancer damage from RushieZ was absolutely perfect. Now they go up about 80 points over Team Queso.
On Team Queso, they're going to be 4 strong, so that's effectively going to push DeTox and INZEM back. RushieZ still in mid. He's holding that down as tight as he possibly can. So RushieZ, they're going to go ahead and backtrack. They're going to set up and just Lancer out. Team Queso, though, taking a page from the playbook of RushieZ. Look at how far they are pushing RushieZ back. They don't want them to get anywhere close to the next hill, but they also have to push RushieZ back in this moment. And Avexys with the torque bow again is deadly. It's scary. He's already put one to use, taking down Cristalize. This next hill could very well make or break Team Queso. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think it is a must break. They need to get on this hill before RushieZ gets carried away in the scoreline. I mean, it's already kind of carried away at this point, 236 to 178.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Sleeafer, enjoy the free haircut. Avexys will be here all night. Tries to land some splash damage. Moves in for the shotgun kill. A triple kill for Avexys. 23, 12, and 11. That's a stat line to remember as RushieZ now only need 50 points before they take a map #1 victory. But RushieZ and DeTox, they go down. 4v2 is going to ensue. Make it a 4v1 as INZEM gets dropped as well. Avexys back to respawn as Team Queso, even with all the pressure against them, find a way to break through this hill and get some more points.
251 to 194. I said it best. Look, Team Queso, they needed to break this hill. It could make or break them. Well, it seems as if it might make them, as they could be within striking distance of retaking the lead over RushieZ. Right now, it's 205 to 251. They're still relatively down, but RushieZ, they're not going to make an attempt for those 20 points. Instead, they're going to set up, and they're going to try and shut down the transfer of Team Queso off of the last hill onto the fresh hill. Cristalize, though, he'll catch up with Avexys. That's solid. Now INZEM, 1v2. He'll also drop. Jacob, there might be a chance Team Queso recovers the lead.
Like I say, you catch fire at the right moment. That's all you need, and that's where RushieZ, he knows his teammates are so far behind. He's just trying to stay alive. Give up the position, because you could try to retake it later as a team, as Avexys catching Jaled out. Great pistol fire, but the maneuvering from Team Queso is going to be great, but a well-placed frag from RushieZ, the player to watch. That could be the moment that RushieZ needed to take the match overall.
All right, RushieZ, they can win off of this hill, or at least they can get dangerously close. 214 to 260 at this point in time. Sleeafer, he's trying to close the gap, but he's taking a tremendous amount of damage the closer he gets. But even still, through perseverance, he's able to take down Avexys, and now he can maybe, isolate that right side with the torque bow. The shock, there's just a little bit of leeway for him to fire it onto INZEM. He'll take him down. Spot Avexys on the flank. Torque bow's gonna miss, but at least he knows he's there.
Avexys knows he can't take down Sleeafer, but that cross is going to do so much, helping with other eliminations around the map. Jaled, He needs to buy time, but time is not on his side. It doesn't matter what he can do here, and he's going to go down to INZEM, who goes forward, takes that middle lance across that RushieZ had earlier in the game, gets the down onto problems. DeTox moves out just to buy time for RushieZ to take the map #1 victory in 14 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah, incredible performance from RushieZ, but honestly, not a bad performance from Team Queso. I think they played that map incredibly well, but RushieZ is a better Reactor team. There's no way around it. And, you know, I know there were jokes in the chat about RushieZ and their consistency and things like that, but, you know, they are a roster that, you know, at times have, you know, started slow, Jacob. Like, I'm talking start off with a 2-0 deficit. But in this regard, they are going to start off hot and heavy with a 1-0 lead. They win their map pick, and that's the best start you could possibly ask for.
Yeah, and that's why I said coming into these controls, if you're Team Queso, you have to come out of the gate, win the first couple of initial hills. You don't have to lock them down and shut down your opponent, but you need to put yourself into position, especially against this RushieZ roster, knowing they can catch fire at the early portions, the mid portions, or the ending portions of this game. RushieZ, they caught it in the beginning, and they caught it at the end, the two moments that really matter.
Absolutely. RushieZ holding on tight, and they've got good chemistry. They have fantastic composure. That's been represented multiple times at this point in Split 3. You can even look in Split 2, but Split 3, most importantly, again, they've been down 2-0, and they've managed to come back and reverse sweep. Granted, did they did that against KCP, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so.
I think they did it against KCP.
Something similar.
Yeah, they did it against KCP. KCP, I believe, was up 2-0. And were dominating the series, and then they came back and won map 5. So RushieZ, again, I mean, they've done it against the best of the best. And for Team Queso, you know, the best case scenario would, you know, obviously to win the first 2 maps. But at this point, they can only settle with map #2, which Clocktower, to their credit, is their map pick, and they are a great Clocktower team. But Avexys, I want to go back to him, and he was so disgusting with the torque bow. I swear every time he had it in his hands, I mean, we saw DeTox just a little bit earlier, but Avexys really stole the show when it came with his torque bow shots.
Yeah, I think coming into this next map on Clocktower, I do agree with you. Team Queso is going to have a little bit of a better shot, especially if they can get the sniper into the hands of Sleeafer. We know how deadly he can be. But another thing is I want Team Queso to kind of watch out for is RushieZ, right? And not because he's going to be that tip of the spear, he's going to push across the secondary by any means, but because when he goes down low, he's usually trying to make a play for those frag grenades and try to get them, rather than if you see INZEM down low very early on, or any of these other players, they're not necessarily going for that same strategy. That's something that you can really kind of tell for RushieZ. I haven't seen them kind of utilize that too much, but that's something I know they leaned on in the past. If you do start winning a couple rounds if you're Team Queso, you don't spot RushieZ up top, you know he's down low trying to put those frags to use.
And that's such a scary thought, though, because it's like, do you want a full send, you know, just a 4-man push for the sniper and commit with potentially, you know, giving up your backside to RushieZ? Because once you do that, it's hard to back away. On Clocktower, it's historically hard to back away in general. Like, once you make that push, you can't really reset. You just got to fully commit to it. But RushieZ is going to be that X factor that is going to be in the back of the Team Queso's head. I mean, it's not going to be an easy fight for them. But again, they are confident here. And you did mention Sleeafer, so let's talk about Sleeafer. We mentioned RushieZ. What does Sleeafer bring to the table for you on Clocktower?
I feel like he's a well-balanced player. But while you know as well as I do, we've seen a lot of times where players get the sniper in their hands, but they either miss shot, they're hitting body shots. But then you have those superstars. You have players like Powers, you have players like Desinide, or in particular in this match, Sleeafer, to where they're not hitting body shots, they're hitting head shots. And that kind of takes a player out of the game almost immediately. So for Sleeafer, I'm going to be seeing him kind of play towards the back pillar, maybe towards Jaled, try to get in with some smokes and flashes. But that's where the flex of Clocktower comes in, whether he gets the sniper and gets out or tries to go for some early eliminations. I think Sleeafer is going to be a focal point for the team of Team Queso.
Well, focal point for Team Queso, maybe even a focal point for RushieZ, because Sleeafer isn't shy about pushing the snipers. So there could be an opportunity to capitalize off of that if you are RushieZ. You know, at times, Team Queso is going to be aggressive and full send it with Sleeafer to get the sniper. You take him out, you're kind of taking down your spearheaded player, or their spearheaded player, I should say, of Team Queso. So You got RushieZ, who's going to be a flexible player. You got Sleeafer, who might be easily read. But at the end of the day, even if your opponents know what you're doing, hey, sometimes that doesn't even matter. Sometimes that won't even put a damper on your strategy. So for Team Queso, play your A game, do what you know best, and don't allow RushieZ to get in your head. This is an important map for them to take because Vasgar isn't going to be easy. RushieZ have been lights out on that map. So this is maybe not a must win, but I mean, a very important win for Team Queso.
Yes, be momentum building if you're RushieZ. If you're Team Queso, it's a must to kind of tie up the series because, oh my gosh, can you imagine staring up at the scoreboard and you're down 0-2 to a perfect RushieZ on the season? Nah, can't be me.
Round number 1, let's get it started. 4v4 up top. We mentioned RushieZ maybe making a move. This time it was Jaled, but wait a second. RushieZ did make that move. He sniffs it out. He gets the first kill on Jaled. He drops problems. I respect the gusto from Jaled to push as hard as he did. Look, Team Queso said, round 1, you beat us on map 1, but round 1 of Clocktower, we're going to get in your grill and we're going to make the most of it. Unfortunately, RushieZ wasn't having it.
I feel like Demo Bounce joined their Discord call. This is what we're going to do round number 1. We're going to throw smoke and get loose. Because that's literally what they did, but instead of getting loose, they throw a smoke and just plain out lost. If this round's going to be even better, RushieZ with a flash in hand, looking like he's looking to get a little bit more aggressive, taking that same positioning back towards the gel, letting Team Queso move up. Hopefully they make a mistake here. As you can see, RushieZ pushing in on the stunned players. Damage is there, backing them out step by step. Problems goes down. That's going to be a trade as INZEM falls. DeTox gets taken out as well. Team Queso will have a 3v2 advantage. They'll have Avexys stuck in the jail, separated from RushieZ. He gets 1, but the numbers game are just too much as Team Queso do a good job of tying it up rather quickly.
Yeah, well done from them. They tied it up 1-1. They're not phased by that 22nd round number 1 where they get aggressive and they were shut down. So good recovery as far as I'm concerned. But with this being round 3, we've already seen 2 rounds go into the way of a 4v4 team fight up top. I think round 3, this is the round where RushieZ looks to make a move down low. Oh, or make a move for a stalemate. Sleeafer must be having issues, maybe, or problems.
I'm trying to think who got chunk problems.
He did, but that doesn't mean that he was, no, maybe, yeah, might have been problems. Or might have been somebody. I don't know. At this point, this is what it is. You know, we're just going to have some stalemates, RushieZ being put on ice, and Team Queso, Team Cheese. I don't know where I'm going with that. That's fine. We got a stalemate. Maybe we might get this started very quickly.
Yeah, they want that action. They're about it, especially RushieZ. They don't want to let Team Queso get too much time to really think of any strategies because I feel like they feel that confidence, and I think Problems right now, he's just having a spike. I think that's what it was. That was mad respect to RushieZ. Respect to both of these teams, but I think Problems, because I saw about like 244 when it came to the ping. Yeah, he's having a spike right now. Much respect. As much as I don't like, you know, lagging out and kind of having to wait too long to kind of go back into this one, you have to show that competitive integrity, and much respect to RushieZ. They realize the ping is there. Anybody can press the back button, and they knew exactly what was going down as soon as they chunked out Problems.
There you go. I mean, competitive integrity is a big thing. We have seen, you know, certain rounds carry on, even though there are some issues. So RushieZ respecting that. That's a good point, Jacob. But for Team Queso, again, we've been a reoccurring theme. Maybe it's Problems this time around, but if Sleeafer, was it Sleeafer who was having that ping?
It was Problems.
Is that what you,
Problems
it was Problem? So Problems, whether it's Sleeafer or Problems, connection issues continue to plague Team Queso at this point. So it's like, and that's why we've seen Nero so many times. Will Nero sub in? I don't know, maybe, but I believe they can only.
I love it. That's all I gotta say. You said it as I'm thinking it. I'm thinking statistically, even though it's an unfair, unvalid statistic, all right? So when I say this, keep that in mind. Nero has better stats than Problems anyway.
But Nero can only be used one more time in Pro League.
Didn't know
so you got to use that wisely, okay? Because he's already been used twice, I believe. Or maybe he's been used. How many times can you use a
I know
sub
once
Pro
for
League?
sure. I don't know how many times, but I know he was used at least once before. I cast him one of those.
Yeah, for sure once, 100%. So I think you can use a sub 2 or 3 times in Pro League. But either way, from what I heard, he is on his last one. So this is a live round, all right? We are tied up 1-1. interestingly enough. So Team Queso and RushieZ. Let's see how this ends up unfolding, as RushieZ did get aggressive. INZEM's going to take down Sleeafer. Cristalize will also fall. Jacob, this is looking like a RushieZ round if I've ever seen one.
I wanted to wait there for a moment. I didn't want to call the action too quick. I've seen bigger miracles happen before.
So, okay, so that was just... Okay, so they didn't recreate the lobby. That's fine. I believe we're going to be keeping score at the top unless we did a restart, and it's 1-1.
First to 5.
So I think it's 2-1 now. Oh, it's so now it's 2-1 for RushieZ. Okay, awesome.
It's 2-1 for RushieZ in the maps.
All right,
I mean, the
so 2-1 for
top.
RushieZ. There we go.
I don't need to do the math myself. I will make a mistake. So thank gosh we have a great production
me and you
team to
doing
kind of throw it
math,
up.
we can't do that.
I can barely do my ABCs. Elemental P is 1 letter.
I love that. I haven't heard that in a while, Jacob. That was a good one. Well, Avexys going to drop off. RushieZ will get him picked back up. Now it's all about exiting. You can't get... INZEM, bro! Yo, INZEM didn't get the memo. He said, boys, where you at? And he's on an island by himself.
You can't, yeah, I was about to say, you can't be the hero on Avexys there. He's going to go down. Avexys basically costed RushieZ his life, and just no respect. Sleeafer just letting him know. Let me put you on the back of my chainsaw and let it rip. Oh my gosh, I would hate to die that way.
It would be brutal, wouldn't it? I can't believe INZEM just full... He must have reached a point to where it was like, I can't back away. Or maybe there was miscommunication on RushieZ's part where it's like, we're committing to this push, but then like, we're not. Maybe who dropped first? It was Avexys who dropped first.
When I used to say this when I played Gears of War 2, if I have an opening, I'm gonna take it. If I die, that means there wasn't an opening.
All right,
makes perfect sense. INZEM, he thought he had an opening, he got taken down.
I love it. Jacob, you're on Fuego. Absolutely, you're on fire tonight.
I actually chose this one out too.
Oh shoot, Ruth didn't.
Oh, double down towards the back line. Sleeafer's gonna be the first one up. Revives are there.
Nice body
shot onto RushieZ. You gotta imagine a down's gonna come through shortly, right? No, it's gonna be a chunk with RushieZ going down. 2v2 playing out. Problems. Pistol fire. Cleaning that one up. Avexys, great shot. Bouncing around. Melee at the right time. Problems doing the perfect motion to win that round. I do believe they're up 3-2.
All right, up 3-2, like you said. We'll get a replay. Sleeafer, this was that first moment. He hit a great body shot before, and I think that body shot was converted to a kill. DeTox drops. Avexys wanted the pickup, but instead was forced to shoot Krista. But it came down to a couple of missed shots. If Avexys hits that first shot, that's a 1v2. That's a victory, and we see RushieZ up 3-2. But ultimately, great composure from Team Queso in that moment, and now we will see a breakaway from RushieZ. He gets the nades.
As soon as he goes down low, and already you see they get the down. RushieZ knows exactly where to throw that spot. They continue to try to get aggressive. Jaled and Cristalize both go down. Problem meets that same fate. Even with a switch up of strategy, RushieZ, they win it in under 30 seconds.
Nice, all tied up 3-3. Everything looking pretty solid here. It's competitive. It is competitive for sure. Trying to see who was the outlier. I don't think anybody's really the shining star here. It's just simply coming down to big key team fights, Jacob. That's really what it's all about.
This is gonna be
need to see. RushieZ going down that time, immediately putting those frags out to use. You're going to see it again. This time he is going to be contested for a moment, but no, it looks like Cristalize made that rotation up top. They're trying to send 4 players there and go run past the sniper. That's the beauty of it all. They're trying to take a 4v3 before RushieZ nades makes an impact, but they're a little too slow. It makes an impact for sure, but everybody's still getting dropped on the side of RushieZ. RushieZ gets 1 more, so that's going to be 2 in the books. He's going to need a perfect round if RushieZ is looking to win.
Do you think he should have made that push? I mean, obviously, you're not going to be comfortable either way you look at it if you're from, you're looking from RushieZ's perspective. You drop down low, you're still giving up the snipe. You've got the low ground and have to make your way up top for the overtime hill. But maybe you get the torque bow. Maybe you get nades to, work with. Do you think RushieZ was justified in pushing that 1v2 as aggressively as he did?
Yeah, based off of it really is based off of what communication was in the mic. If somebody's screaming at the top of their lungs, he's full red, he's weak. RushieZ in his thought process is going to try to clean that one up as you see him being the tip of the spear back towards the top side of the map, throws it directly into the host spot to take away the position from Team Queso, and they go there almost unscathed. They find one on to Cristalize before getting traded out. That's going to be INZEM, but DeTox drops. RushieZ soon to follow. It's going to be all up to Avexys, who can't even get an inch, and Team Queso will shut him down yet again and go on map point.
I believe it's first. Okay, so it's first to 5.
Yep.
At least on the score, but we have the corrected score. So still one more round needed to be completed. And Problems, just beautiful movement. He picks up RushieZ and DeTox. Sleeper gets to last. Problems. Now, I said it before, I didn't have any standout players. He might be the standout player to me.
It's a big switch around. Truly making his name a problem. Exactly what his name says. RushieZ back-to-back rounds trying to push over, take away and close out the positioning from Team Queso, but great flashes, great shots from Team Queso, particularly Problems gets another elim. Sleefer, Jaled, they get a couple more, and with that last elim, it's gonna come in, and Team Queso will take the map 6-2 and tie us up at 1 map apiece.
Yeah, well done. 6-2, like you said, and that's a solid victory if I've ever seen one. Team Queso proving their worth on Clocktower as they normally do. Hey, this series is just getting heated up. Vasgar Escalation is going to be coming up next. Who's going to take the 2-1 lead? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gears Pro League Split 3, Day 6. We see tied up series 1-1. Team Queso answers back in great fashion, 6-3 victory on Clocktower execution, and continually proving, Jacob, why they preferred this map. I think they played it so very well. RushieZ, they tried to go down low with RushieZ with nades at one point. They tried to get aggressive on snipe. They even tried to get aggressive and push into the 4v4 fight, but Team Queso seemed to have an answer every single time.
Yeah, and honestly, they had more up their sleeve, more tricks left in the bag, because they did all this while getting aggressive. There was very little sniper play. That's because Clocktower's that flex map. You like what you see, you can go ahead and change it up at a moment's notice. And Team Queso, that never give up attitude, never go down, doesn't matter what Problems, if it's Sleefer or Problems himself, they've always picked themselves back up.
Always, 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 always great composure. Vasgar Escalation, a map that has been played more, I mean, really more times, I think, than any other Escalation map. Maybe not in Gears 5, but at least for sure Split 3 and Split 2. So familiar territory, familiar turf for both rosters. But RushieZ is a team that is just so good on Vasgar in Split 3. I don't know if they've lost it. I'm going to have to actually check, Jacob.
Yeah, but you can kind of already see a very close map number 1, RushieZ picks, and they have to win their map. Picked by Clocktower is going to be picked by Team Queso. They single-handedly kind of really take control, whether they were playing passive, backtracking, or getting aggressive going forward. So coming into Vasgar, I do agree with you. RushieZ playing absolutely great when it comes to Vasgar Escalation because of the aggression, because of how split up it can be. And no matter if it's duos, it's singles, if it's 3 players, and then RushieZ by himself on the other side of the map, RushieZ just has such good teamwork, knowing players have to run into them. It's not all about just taking over the hill. There's position that you need to capture first before you get to the hill, and with so many steps involved, RushieZ does a good job of making sure their foundation is solid. Team Queso, on the other hand, they look a little shaky sometimes. That's something I know RushieZ is going to look to take advantage of.
So RushieZ has played Vasgar 2 times throughout their 4 series in Pro League and Split 3. They played against Hyde, they played against KCP. They beat Hyde 5-0. They also beat KCP 5-1. Team Queso, though, has played Abuelos, Pittsburgh Knights, and Fury 1, and they've lost all 3 times. Their best chance was against Abuelos and Fury 1, where they went 3-5, but they still ended up taking a loss. So this could be a very severe map for Team Queso in terms of struggle, at least from what I can see from the stats alone. So it's not going to be easy without question. One of those times, mind you, was with Nero, the sub. So the full roster is here. They're competing. So maybe there's a chance Team Queso, who knows, could be a totally different roster tonight as opposed to the other 3 times they played on Vasgar.
Yeah, especially if you're 0-3 on this map, and I think only one of those, I don't remember all the teams. I know you mentioned the Pittsburgh Knights, and one of them was really being the elite team. I think you mentioned Hive and Fury 1 being the other ones. Team Queso, I feel like, has to throw out all of the weapon placement strategy they have of the past right out the window. Think of something new and really try to get aggressive versus this RushieZ squad. So instead of putting bolt talk pistol, retro, and you kind of build those up, maybe you throw something big on one side of the map and really force RushieZ to step up to the plate and fight for it. Because doing the same thing has already shown, whether if it's the bottom of the barrel team or a team near the top, you guys cannot come out with a victory with the strategy you guys were using.
Yeah, I mean, Team Queso, I believe one of the things that they run into is, as far as an issue goes, is they continue to just go, you know, tit for tat, pound for pound, Boltok, INZEM, Shock, which to a certain point, that's 100% valid. You need to do that. You have to have a Shock and an INZEM, but they don't change the map up enough. So Jacob, you're right. Maybe throw a curveball out there. There's not that many curveballs you can really throw on Vasgar, aside from, you know, quite literally putting something in mid, which just simply doesn't happen. But, you know, placing a sniper earlier on, maybe round 2, or placing a Torque up top, you know, these things could very well, you know, change the pace of the map for yourself if you're Team Queso. But let's get into it. Map number 3, RushieZ versus Team Queso. Winner has a 2-1 lead in the series.
Yeah, you see Avexys in your mini map there to kind of start that one off. He was just putting the pressure, the Lancer fire across the map. Try to get an early down and get the positioning away, which worked to kind of start it off. And look, they already got that first one onto Jaled, forcing Problems to move in. That's going to be a double down. Nothing getting cleaned up just yet, but they move in. High risk, high reward. They get 3 straight off the bat and a home hill away from Team Queso. The silver lining, though, is going to be Cristalize. Winning is 1v1, but how many ones can you win?
Silver lining for now, but he still has to win another fight against RushieZ, and Cristalize is full red. RushieZ knows, and he's going to go ahead and take advantage by pushing up. So now it is a sprint, a dash, a race to get onto your own home hill. And Team Queso are doing a good job, it seems, but Jaled with the misroll will be finished, but Sleeafer will be the last one standing. So, hey, give them credit, Jacob. Well done, RushieZ. They'll still have the lead. They'll have map control, but at least Team Queso has a second, or actually now a third chance to try and make something happen.
Yeah, you can already see, if you notice, RushieZ is playing that flank, slowly but surely moving up, spotting out all the players and giving up that information. And look at, that's why I keep staring at the minimap. Everybody of RushieZ is playing the situation perfect, backing off for the hill, not taking a bad fight, and rotating through the middle to take a 3v3 on the other side of the map.
Just a Lancer fight between Cristalize and DeTox. DeTox is going to die off there, and the reason why Sleeafer, I think, was the one who was getting them from behind. Jaled, though, will pick up an elimination in conjunction with the rest of his team. Team Queso, to their credit, have, you know, taken a bad situation and made it good, as now they're just 24 points behind that of RushieZ. There's a lot of moving pieces, but, I mean, at the end of the day, you can see Team Queso, they do have map presence, and they're applying the pressure on the C. They're going to go ahead and wisely back away, and they will have Sleeafer, who's going to be off the respawn in just a second or so. I think RushieZ has no choice but to push in 3 strong to A.
Especially since RushieZ has no choice but to continue going forward. Avexys gets down for a moment. Jaled with the wrist, knowing his teammates are there, gets that elimination onto Avexys. INZEM trying to be the hero. He ends up with 0 eliminations along with DeTox, and the pressure is back on board. RushieZ, who wins a big fight to keep RushieZ alive and in this match, but now it's going to come down to desperation pushes right off a respawn for RushieZ.
Big hold for Team Queso. If they can hold this C home hill of RushieZ, then they can win this round, but they already back away. They concede the fight. But did they really? I mean, they're still there. Maybe they back away, they keep it decapped, but they're just in the nick of time pushing forward, and they win the fight. That's it. This round is going to go to the way of Team Queso, unless maybe, just maybe, this 1v1 pays, you know, dividends for RushieZ and the roster of RushieZ. But now he's in a 1v2. He couldn't finish off the 1v1 quick enough, but he's still alive, but not for long. He will be finished off, and, well, round number 1 is going to go to the way of Team Queso, unless RushieZ pulls off an absolute miracle in 9 seconds.
Yep. And you could kind of really see the difference. I liked a lot of the strategy of what RushieZ was doing. They were pushing and pulling, doing a great kind of give and take away from fighting one side of the map and rotating the other. But you know as well as I do, when you're down points, you're going to have to defend the spot sooner or later instead of playing the game of rotations, because Team Queso, they realized they had such a lead and they played for the 2 hills every single time.
So Team Queso winning round 1 is huge. Absolutely massive, and shows that they can fight back. I mean, you really go back to round 1 and go to the beginning where RushieZ took a tremendous map advantage and at one point was going for a domination. It came down to 2 distinct 1v1s. Sleeafer was one winner, and then I want to say Cristalize was the other winner. He was the first one on B, and then Sleeafer onto the A fight. But Team Queso fought super hard. It wasn't easy, and I don't think this victory on Vasgar is going to be easy by any means for Team Queso. They're going to have to fight every single round like they did in round 1, but the point is, getting a victory proves that it's 100% doable.
I mean, I feel like I've learned in life, anything is doable. The right amount of preparation, effort, confidence, and then you sprinkle in some luck, anything is definitely possible. Except for that push. Sleeper, I don't know what you were doing by yourself. DeTox, Lancer, you got denied entry immediately. Great bait and switch from Jaled, though. Problems gets one on to INZEM. Everybody gets taken out. Back to start. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Exactly. They just got sent right to jail.
Look, man, you gave an inspirational speech. Then you put Sleefer as, you know, your joke because he ended up dropping, but he was still there with Jaled. Jaled picked him back up. And another key to the formula of success, and anything is possible, is good teamwork and having those good people by your side, brother. And, well, Jaled was that guy. Super cheesy, I know. All right, I'm sorry, but look, it is what it is. The statement still stands, ladies and gentlemen. 2-0 lead for Team Queso. We mentioned them changing up the map. At this point, there's no reason for them to do so.
It's going to be a big turnaround, just kind of like taking it all in. I don't know if RushieZ is overestimating their opponent in Team Queso, but they're really going to have to tighten up and really treat them like everybody else, like some of our teams towards the bottom half of the leaderboard. They don't let up off the gas, no matter if they're playing the best or the worst. Is Cristalize trying to defend the backline tank. He's able to get an elimination onto one and narrow this 3v2 into a 2v2. Immediately works together with his teammate, gets another down. That one's going to be cleaned up. So this is going to be Sleefer versus INZEM. Big reward in the neutral hill, and Sleefer wins it. Sleefer comes out on top. Triple gap domination. It's up to DeTox. He gets one. DeTox is doing it.
He's doing it. I don't know what much it is unless they get a 2-1, but DeTox is doing something, and he's going to continue to push forward to A. And, well, hey, man, that was a hell of a turn of events. Team Queso had the perfect start, and the DeTox just kind of derailed it. But, you know, for RushieZ, they do it in just a nick of time. They only... Yo, Sleefer's doing it again!
Bro, what are these? They woke up. Team Queso, they got that good cheese today. They got that aged cheese. They got some fine wine because they're celebrating early here.
Cheese,
overall, 20-point lead, but they're down 2 hills to 1 for RushieZ. So if they don't get these elims here, start to break free and get another hill underneath their control, that would be danger. But they do that and more. They got 2 hills. They got the elims, the man advantage. So now the choice is theirs.
Now it's just tranquillo, bro. Just relax.
Love it.
No reason to get overzealous and get crazy here. You know where RushieZ is at. You know where they're deviating their numbers. It's going to be a 2-2 split. See it coming and then plan accordingly, right? Now it's time. Keep that composure on your side. Slow it down a little bit. And I think Team Queso, they got the memo, but watch your flank. RushieZ is there, and now you're going to get pincered. But RushieZ is down. RushieZ is down, but hey, is INZEM going to be able to make a play much like DeTox did on this side just a little bit earlier? Only time will tell. We're going to have to see, but I love this angle from Jaled. I truly do, but is he going to be able to capitalize? He's not going to be able to get that kill. Avexys will stand up to the help of DeTox. RushieZ will recover a 2-1 hill advantage.
Trying to make sure to get the cap first. RushieZ with a flank. Jaled's down and out. That was great work by RushieZ, but RushieZ, he loses INZEM, a great teammate that was right into the mix. He's going to be forced back. Sleeper picking up yet another Retro Lancer and putting that fire from across the map. You see Avexys trying to join the fray and ease the pressure for his teammates, which he does absolutely at the perfect moment. 3 players of Team Queso will go down. Jaled spawns back up, but the last driving hope, Jaled and Sleefer, they're going to have to be the first line of defense here.
Gonna have to be 231 to 177. Team Queso, all you gotta do is hold on just a little bit longer. Easier said than done, however. She's back into the fight. DeTox also rolls in. DeTox did pick up an elimination on Sleeper. It's gonna pick up a second, but his time will be cut short. A bit of a mismantle will put one in the grave. Cristalize doubles back, and he wins the fight. Team Queso leads 3-0.
Oh, 3 in a row, tic-tac-toe. These guys got it going on for sure. Team Queso using that momentum from map number 2, which some people in chat said it. RushieZ looking like a shell of themselves, looking like they forgot all their strategies. I think that's bleeding over into this map. The pressure, only so much you can do when it's just getting mounted time and time again. But with a 3-0 start, I will say, Reflections, if RushieZ has any comeback in him, it starts in this round right here, because I will say it, I would lose hope if they're down 4-0. I'll lose hope in this one map. One map, not the series.
You know, this is the thing, right? They're down 3-0, but we did see it come back a little bit earlier on Training Grounds. Gosse Papel High. Hive ends up losing that Training Grounds, but they were down 3-0. They came back 3 rounds in a row. It didn't help them out too much, but I mean, for RushieZ, I agree with you, brother. Like, if they're down 4-0, it might be curtains, and Team Queso is going to win a map that I thought for sure they weren't going to be able to win. This is pretty crazy, and I'm so impressed from Team Queso's perspective. Nice shot from Sleeafer, but he's going to have to do a little bit more. RushieZ will die off. He backtracks to DeTox. DeTox will get the best of him. So domination, it's going to be thwarted for the time being. But Team Queso still wins the initial, and they've been doing that consistently.
I'm looking at the minimap. They're going to backtrack. They're going to try to take a 3v or a 4v2 on the members towards the low side. Team Queso is going to do the exact same thing. It's sandwich for sandwich right here, and Team Queso are finding a way to be the better sandwich at the feast.
Target my mark.
All right, Cristalize opposite of INZEM. Bit of a rematch. I like that bull talk, though. I really like it now, especially after the 2 body shots. He'll make it a 3rd and drop him. He goes for the finish, but he ends up getting a bit too overzealous, and he will lose his life in the meantime. He'll crawl in. Avexys will get the finish onto him, but 105 to 45. Team Queso still with the lead, and given history, they've been able to hold on to the lead. When they get this much of a lead, Jacob, RushieZ hasn't been able to flip the script yet.
Not just yet. A complete meltdown coming out from the roster. Got to see Cristalize waiting, finally rotating out. A couple players gonna get spotted out. Problems with Sleeafer. Avexys over the top. 2 different 1v1s taking place. INZEM's gonna back down 1. Sleeafer tries to make a rotation, but DeTox beats him to the punch yet again. RushieZ still have 2 hills to 1, but they need that triple neutralization if they want to come back.
All right, triple neutralization. Will that happen? Well, it's not going to happen on the top end. Maybe it will. You got player 8, though, RushieZ, who trying to make some moves. So is Sleeafer, once again, trying to make the heroic play. And it looks 100% possible when he starts moving and he gets that first kill. But heroic play or not, Team Queso recovered the 2-1 hill advantage, and they win in 32 seconds.
Time ticking down. It's off to RushieZ to make a move, and they have to be perfect as a team. Dropping is going to be INZEM, making everything harder. The pressure is mounting against him. Avexys has to take this 2v1. He gets saved. RushieZ makes the play. It's now a 2v1 in favor of RushieZ, and RushieZ goes down. Problem shuts him down, and that's going to be Avexys. He has nowhere to go but forward to start this decap opportunity, and if Problem shuts him down, that'll be over, but Avexys goes through. He breaks away, but he knows he cannot stay and capture the hill. It's hills over kills in this situation, and I think the pressure is just too much. No $5 for you, but they're gonna win the round regardless.
I'm blown away. I mean, Jacob, it's 4-0. Has that faith 100% been lost now for RushieZ?
On this map, yep. It may come down to 4-4, but they're not winning the map. I feel bad saying it. So the way you finish this one out for RushieZ, you have to build momentum.
If RushieZ brings this back 4-4, RushieZ has to win it at that point.
No, they won't, just because I feel like I want to be right. Not I will be right. I just want to be right so bad.
I mean, look. Team Queso hasn't won on
lately.
Vasgar once, guys, in Split 3. They have not won Vasgar once. Meanwhile, RushieZ has won Vasgar 2 times. I mean, one of those times is against KCP, for goodness sakes, guys. I mean, like, this is just, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to see. Cristalize 13-5. We've been talking about Sleeafer quite a bit. He's been making those pop-up plays, but Cristalize, that man on your screen, playing where TJ normally plays for E United, has been popping off. Sleeafer with a great connection onto RushieZ. The battle on tank is getting bloody. Cristalize now rotating around, but he is going to get his head popped off, and RushieZ might be, oh, they won't win. But, I mean, hey, they're at least going to have the 2-1. They win an initial.
You saw that he overextended Jaled on the other side of the map, kind of going by himself. And this is where I would love to see him just do a little bit more, especially if his teammates call, hey, there's 4 players over here. Take a more sneaky position like he's trying to do now. Wait for somebody to kind of rotate on over, but he's going to be waiting a long time because RushieZ have 2 hills to 1. So it's going to be up to Queso to make the move and get a neutralization on the 1.
Avexys is down. He's down. That's huge. Team Queso needs to capitalize off of this. They try to close the gap. That's a great body in response from Avexys. I mean, really, the pressure at an all-time high, and he manages to get a body, and then you have RushieZ recovering as well as they did. That's 4 men down. This is the moment you lock in the domination. This is the 2nd domination attempt RushieZ has had since round number 1. Sleeafer, he will make his way into Ep, but it's not going to be enough. Now you got another one there, but he's going to be shut down. And a round finally going to RushieZ.
Yeah, pistol fire, lancer fire, sniper fire, everything landed on that player. and really kind of stopped them short, unable to get the break, making it that much easier for the triple cap domination to come in. But RushieZ needs a perfect ending to this map. They need 5 straight rounds if they want to be victorious and go up 2-1, honestly, because this is not 2-0 for either one of these teams. This is a 1-1 tie series for Team Queso to take this map, go over to their pick. That is going to be something massive. That's going to be a confidence boost. Forget a momentum boost. That's going to be a confidence boost.
Huge confidence boost. I mean, both rosters at this point need for Team Queso. You want to talk about the opposite of a confidence boost, losing this map, but we're far from that. We are absolutely far from that. DeTox, the standout player on RushieZ's roster at the moment, 15 and 11. He tries to take a shot to get Avexys out of there, and to his credit, he does. Avexys is back in the fight, but was the life spent worth it? Avexys does get away, but now he's in a 1v3. We're either going to see the most spectacular... Well, we're not. We're not going to see. I was about to set it up, but I didn't even get time to set it up, bro. Cristalize put him in the grave quickly. And I think RushieZ might be losing this shortly, depending on what RushieZ and INZEM can do.
They need to get in the hill, force them out of that cover as RushieZ finally going wide. They do it in time. Turns, burns, takes out Jaled. Goes right back to the scene of the crime. He gets shut down, going for that same up A strategy. Avexys is trying to break loose, spread the defense thin, works to perfection as RushieZ will stave off elimination, stave off losing this map, and live to tell the tale.
They live, but they're not thriving. 108 to 31, still a lot of work to be done, but at least step 1 is over with, right? Staying alive. Sometimes that's just the most important part. Keep it simple. Go back to your ABCs. Player 2, Jaled, he's about to get swarmed on. He's got 2 players from RushieZ pushing directly into him, and he's trying to hold his own weight really in the corner, but unfortunately, he has nowhere to go. He's going to get finished off, and RushieZ has recovered quite well. I don't think they'll have, well, they might have the win condition, but 154 to 63 again. RushieZ still has a lot of work ahead of them.
It almost seems like Team Queso is playing like this is Control, where it's one round, you go to a certain score. They're not playing with that same fire that got them to the 4-0 start that they had. Past couple rounds have been lackluster. They've been a shell of themselves, not having that same type of aggression. I see Sleeafer spotted out across the map. His only help is going to abandon him to try to take a numbers advantage on the other side of the map.
We do see RushieZ has the win condition, but I mean, it's just on a razor's edge. They've got to hold on, but Jaled finds an opportunity to Lancer down RushieZ. A decap comes through, and Team Queso now will be in a fantastic position to close this map out 5-1 in just 25 seconds. RushieZ at this point now has to get desperate.
You can see that second player in Cristalize rotating on over. INZEM can no longer contest this fight as they're going for that decap, going for the triple cap as well. RushieZ, they're going to get their home hill back, so Cristalize knows he cannot risk it all for this one. Sleeafer over the top. He's getting it down. He saves the day yet again. There goes INZEM, who has to make the save for his team, and he gets shut down. It looks like Team Queso will complete the round victory and take the map 5-1 in an upset victory, and the tables have turned in the overall series.
I mean, hugely turned. I am so blown away. Team Queso, well done. That is one hell of a victory. 15 and 9 for Cristalize. Sleeafer had so many pop-off moments as well. Jaled in that last round went absolutely massive. I mean, I'm blown away. I genuinely am. Out of all the maps that were going to be played in this series, this was not the map I expected Team Queso to win.
No, it definitely is not that map. I could have saw maybe map number 1. They definitely did win map number 2. As soon as the sniper's in play, it really does change it up. And not only winning this map, but in the fashion that they did, RushieZ needs to wake up or they're going to get their first loss today.
That's a fact. Now, it's funny. You know, Chad, again, at the beginning was talking about composure and RushieZ normally, you know, being that team that was on the back end of things, forced to kind of come back. You know, that narrative is now alive again because it's like after round 1, I'm thinking it's smooth sailing. They got this on lock, especially with Team Queso having those connection issues once again. You know, Problems having his issues, Sleeafer having his issues. I'm thinking, all right, we've seen this story unfold a million times. But Team Queso, everything is smoothed out. And we asked, what can we expect from Team Queso when the connection is fine? I mean, clearly we can expect greatness. I mean, RushieZ at this point are the #1 team in Pro League. If Team Queso can somehow get a victory in this series over the #1 team in Pro League, you can make the argument that Team Queso it could be a dark horse team heading into the major.
Bracket buster, a team that can kind of hide under the radar, but at the same time, you know, going into the major, if Team Queso beats RushieZ, there's no way they're hiding under anybody's radar anymore.
Can't.
Just talking about that headshot right there. See, it was as simple as he stepped in front of Avexys and Avexys clicked the right trigger.
Who on RushieZ ended up excelling? It was actually DeTox. He went 17 and 15. Not the most impressive KD, but damage done 16K. But that even pales in comparison to problems in Cristalize with you know, 19K, 16K. Sleeafer was 16K, but the KDA was just insane from those boys. I'm really at a loss for words over that victory. You got Team Queso, who had one Vasgar yet, and you got RushieZ, who hadn't lost it, and the roles are reversed. And it's not just as Team Queso wins Vasgar, they win at 5-1. Like, that is massive and an incredibly dominating win. So they've got to have all the confidence in the world. They won Clocktower, they won Vasgar, they're up 2-1 in the series, and they're heading into Ritual, which I don't think Team Queso is that crazy on Ritual. Definitely RushieZ is a better team there, especially with RushieZ hiding in the shadows, but anything is possible at this point.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Team Queso has taken a perfect page out of Casa de Papel's playbook in that same matchup that I was talking about. Hive was just going forward. They really showing a depth in strategy. That's something I'm getting the same feeling. It's not exact 1-for-1 out of RushieZ, but Team Queso rolling black, playing that teamwork style of play, but RushieZ is just kind of bull rushing into them. Something that has me scratching my head and makes me wonder, is RushieZ sleeping on this Team Queso roster? They're not playing to their full potential because they just have that confidence, but now you got to throw that confidence to the side and play the team game. Start playing to that blueprint and the practice that got you to that undefeated record.
You know, we always bring up the narrative when a dominant team starts to fall behind. Are they playing at the peak of their ability? Are they really bringing their A game? And I think you have to say, yeah, I believe RushieZ really is. Are they having the best night? You could argue no, but I mean, the way that they played map 1, that was RushieZ, you know, at peak capability on Reactor. They were playing incredibly well. I mean, even on Clocktower, there's some great plays coming out from the end of RushieZ. But no, Team Queso is definitively and hands down beating RushieZ at this point, at least off of the last 2 maps. But, you know, the thing is, we're heading into Control. We've already seen RushieZ win in Control, so map 4 seems to be a big positive for them at this point. Execution could be a big talking point, though, especially heading into checkout. You never know. We saw the first, you know, execution one from Team Queso's perspective. So, I mean, surely this is going to a game 5. And when it does, map 5 is going to be a wild card.
I will say, and I don't want anybody to really dig too deep into this one until after the matchup, but this is something we've seen some RushieZ splits before. They start off undefeated, they start off taking fire, but then they kind of slow down, they kind of taper off a little bit. They show up to the major with a redefined fire, but I feel like for RushieZ to take the overall major, they need to figure out a way to not slow down during the regular season, not let up off the gas, so that when they reach the major, they're not trying to rebuild. They're instead building onto the foundation that got them to that position. So I think the rest of this matchup is going to be really telling of RushieZ, even though it's still close, it's still very respectable overall, but it just goes to show that they are still human. They still have a lot of the individual mental mistakes that goes on in that team.
But I mean, it's true. RushieZ definitely tapers off, and they've done that historically. You know, KCP has done that. You know, not at first, but they started doing that over time. But I mean, let's talk about the gravity of this match, though. Like, first off, we saw Casa de Papel and Hive play a little bit earlier. We knew one team was going to come out with the victory. It was Casa de Papel. They end up getting their first win over Hive. Like, that's massive. And we talk about them avoiding relegation. And you look at Team Queso. Team Queso is 1-3, ladies and gentlemen. Like, They have not been spectacular at all throughout this split. Have they had plenty of moments where they've looked great? Absolutely. We've talked about the connection issues. Without that, how good would they be? I beat that, you know, into the ground. But Team Queso is number 8 in the standings. RushieZ is number 1. To have the number 8 standing team beat the number 1 standing team would just be, I mean, it would be unfathomable. Something that you just literally never see. But most importantly, if Team Queso can win this series, you got to make the argument that Coste Papel and Hive, they're going to be relegated. So this matchup for Team Queso could truly separate them, not only as a team that could be a bracket buster, dark horse team in the major, but also be a team that can avoid relegation by this series alone. Look at how scrappy this is. RushieZ starts off with plenty of eliminations. Team Queso answers back, but RushieZ will get the last lap.
You just gotta wonder how different this initial would have been if Jaled didn't team kill his teammate. Because he would have had an extra player there, and even though problems gets one on to INZEM, it just keeps staggering out. As long as you're the team that gets the second elimination, you'll always kind of be a few seconds ahead. Frag grenades now making their appearance. DeTox is going to get one onto Jaled. Sleeafer slowly but surely backing up and plays right into his hand. Cristalize now has his hands full, unable to get the revive or the elim as RushieZ picks up 2 with the help of Avexys.
So, RushieZ, they get into 2 distinct team fights against Team Queso, and they win both of them. That's going to net them a 30-point-plus lead, and Team Queso now needs to focus on the next hill. 20 seconds isn't enough to fight for. Surprisingly, they will fight, though, for the last remaining 20 points, and I guess to clear out the top side of things, but you're not fighting for the fresh torque bow. That's going to be up in about 40 or so seconds. So either way, it's going to be a cat-and-mouse game. RushieZ, Avexys, they'll back off, and they will try and keep Cristalize and Co at bay. Avexys, though, is going to go for a nice little bit of a flank, and he's going to manage to drop Sleeafer. Cristalize will also fall, and RushieZ should have control of the new hill, and they will.
Playing that long game, going from one hill to the next. Sleeafer just trying to get this lower portion, spawn point first, possible torque bow later on when it spawns. It's inches. It's a game of step by step, because if you skip a couple steps, you will get taken down. You see flashes, counter flash and aggressive flash. Sleeafer drawing not one, but multiple members over. Takes out Avexys, trades off with RushieZ though. Cristalize versus RushieZ. Playmaker versus Playmaker for the spawn point on this side of the map, but it does look like a 2v2 is going to go down with Jaled getting that first blood, and it looks like Team Queso are going to get some inches in this match.
They're trying. They really are. 67-9, but it's going to be short-lived. Unless Sleeafer can maybe make a bit of an impact. INZEM, though, he knows he's got to clutch up, and he takes down Cristalize. Now you got to get through Sleeafer, and he will. You said Team Queso was starting to gain some momentum. I'm really not seeing it. 14 points is a far cry from momentum.
Yo, INZEM just hit him with the Will Smith right there. That's all I gotta say. He just walked up and hit him with the Will Smith. All 4 of them can go back to wherever the spawn point is right now. And you can see after they're winning that, they leave Avexys back, gather it up, the spawn point, or the point total, while everybody else breaks free. RushieZ, they're trying to catch them off guard and leave themselves enough time. So even though RushieZ got eliminated here, you're gonna see before the hill rotates over, RushieZ gonna be back in the action.
In the action, INZEM on your screen once again. 5-1, guys. He's only died once at this point, and even though Full Red refuses to drop, he'll be shoulder to shoulder with Avexys and DeTox. And I did see the torque bow get picked up, or excuse me, Avexys has 1 more torque remaining, and RushieZ is on a tear. You know, again, this map I figured was going to go to the way of RushieZ, but you know, it's just, it could get out of hand very quickly. And you want to talk about momentum heading into map 5. This could very well be it. RushieZ spotting a couple of players heading down that short little alleyway, and Team Queso is going to choose to full send with 4 men just barreling through, but they don't make any headway at all.
They were just kind of staggered out. I felt like they just kind of spawned up and chucked those flashes directly into the sky and just hoping they landed to perfection, because neither one of those stuns really landed and allowed them to kind of break free. You kind of add in the fact that RushieZ threw some perfect counter flashes to separate the players of Team Queso. They're going to go back to the scene of the crime here. This time, better flashes around, but 2 towards the back pillar. They forgot about 1. INZEM's going to get dropped, but you forget about RushieZ. That's exactly what happens. He makes you pay with a triple kill of his own. Can he get the ace? Can we get 2 aces in 1? Wow. RushieZ gets it at the end of the day. INZEM gets it. RushieZ gets it. Back-to-back aces.
Incredible performance from RushieZ. Back-to-back aces. You know, we looked at him as our player to watch for the series, and for good reason. That man is popping off, and he's been popping off all of Split 3. I mean, he is on top again, and he finally will drop. That'll bring him to his knees, and obviously scoreline will go down a little bit. He's 12-3. I mean, what a terrible game from RushieZ at this point.
I expect better from him. You're right. 7 total assists, though. He's kind of doing absolutely a little bit of everything. 5 objective kills, 10 caps, 0 breaks. Disappointed again.
I'm telling you, man, stat line, gotta pad those stats, brother. RushieZ, I expect more from you. Now, all jokes aside, this guy's playing absolutely incredible, and so is RushieZ. I mean, 160 to 14, and we are now on P4 at this point. So Team Queso will take one more point to their favor and actually might be able to retake definitively their first hill.
Oh my God, towards the back line, they get downed out as well. INZEM, I don't disagree with that. He trying to go for the cheeky play, take out problems, and his teammates were dead regardless. Now, with 45 seconds left on the clock, they're going to have to spawn up and try to figure out where they're at. And Sleeafer trying to make a sneaky play onto Avexys. And it might turn and bite him because a great flash. Avexys, both players have a good amount of damage where one well-placed shot can be the last one. And Avexys lands that final nail in the coffin to give RushieZ a 4v3 advantage.
160 to 35. RushieZ is right back into the fight. Cristalize, though, trying to keep him at bay, but he gets swarmed on and he gets taken down. RushieZ lose a little bit of control, but they recover it quite quickly to continue their lead forward. The rich get richer. And one by one, Team Queso continues to be staggered, isolated. You just saw player 5 by himself. He's going to bleed out and die. Now you got player 8 by himself as well. And once he dies off, then you got player 6 who's by himself. And then once he dies off, player 7 is by himself. Team Queso, get it together.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, at least they shut down INZEM there. You get a little victory. You get a small victory, and you got to turn those small victories into bigger victories each and every time. You have a little bit of advantage here. A 4v2 if they play their cards right, because right now DeTox seems to be out of the fight, trying to grab the frags. Avexys getting crossed from all angles. He's going to drop. So is RushieZ. Two players are going to go down for RushieZ, which gives a go-ahead advantage over to Team Queso. They're going to stagger out INZEM as well and get that hill. But how long? With 56 seconds, they're going to have to hold on to every single second and more if they want to come back in this series.
And they have shown that it's been difficult for them to hold on tight. RushieZ has been doing such a phenomenal job breaking the hills. Team Queso, can they do it this time around? Avexys, he'll be the tip of the spear. Just behind him is going to be INZEM, so they might push together, but they're also maybe waiting to see how RushieZ as well as DeTox's fight ends up unfolding. Sleeafer with the torque bow, that'll alleviate some pressure. You still got a 1v on the opposite side, but to Cristalize credit, he will win. And RushieZ, a bit of a failed attempt, and that's not because they played that bad. That's because Team Queso played that so incredibly well.
And you saw that last flash. It kind of took a weird hop and got over the top regardless, which kind of allowed and separated the two members of RushieZ. But RushieZ knows with such a lead, 100+ points in counting, they're going to try to go over towards next, or at least get the position towards this torque bow, so as it is going to come up. They have a 3v2 on this side of the map if they can take it rather quickly. First elimination is going to be Sleeafer. Second one, that one's going to be a problem, so they have everything going for them except for RushieZ going down on the other side of the map.
And he does go down 84 to 198. You know, to Team Queso's credit, Jacob, I mean, RushieZ really haven't got that many points off the last two hills. I mean, it's been all Team Queso. That might shift, though. Sleeafer trying to open up a bit of a door, alleviate some of the pressure. Alongside that of problems. Problems will fall, and Team Queso might be running into a bit of an issue. Cristalize, he sees a lot of players. He finally prioritizes one, but he's on his last final down, and Avexys will roll through, take down Cristalize, take down Jaled, and RushieZ has basically a fresh hill with 50 points remaining on it.
Like RushieZ, just playing that teamwork. They're playing that strategy. They're spreading the map out and using every crevice of it to their advantage, making sure that players are backing up when they have to, charging forward when they need to. Cristalize, though, needs to use these grenades to perfection. You cannot wait and lose any more time before you start making your comeback campaign. But you see Avexys and the rest of the team, I should say INZEM and RushieZ to correct me there, they have that bigger picture set out. There's only scrap time left, so they're setting up for more.
Nading Cristalize hand. Oh, he throws it out to his credit, but DeTox charges forward. He's going to avoid it, but Problems will finally get the cleanup, but he can't really rest on his laurels just yet. He's got to push out. He's got to push out and make an attempt for the next hill. But RushieZ with one more torque. That's an easy cleanup on the Jaled. I mean, easy kill. He lined it up for him.
Across the map, he gets the first one. Oh, back up A's, back A's, side A's. He has a teammate, INZEM, who also hit A, and it works out to perfection. They're going to set themselves up all around the hill. But look, as soon as they have a 3v2 and the numbers advantage on the other side, they immediately go. Not give Team Queso time to have any advantage on the other side of the map.
So 250 is going to be RushieZ. They'll be there very shortly. RushieZ, he will die. Avexys now swinging it wide. He's also gone. You leave RushieZ members with only 2 to work with against 3, but make that now a 2v2. Making the most of it for sure. Sleeafer looks as if there's an opening, but DeTox, he's picked right back up, and the bait and switch from INZEM to DeTox will work out in their favor. RushieZ will be up to 254 and enough points here for them to take the victory, but only just enough. Team Queso needs to contest it for about 10 seconds.
How long can you hold on? More than enough to win on the side of RushieZ, so you need to at least have a contesting drive. 2 players are dropped. Cristalize finally going back, but it comes at a cost. They lose 1, they lose 2, a Sleeafer goes down, make it 3 in a row. Tic-tac-toe, Problems gets dropped. Now Team Queso off of respawn. They don't have time to gear up as a team. They're going to have to just go, which plays perfectly into the hands of RushieZ.
There is enough points to win off of this hill. They've got to fly at this. I mean, literally just enough. You got to keep it contested for about 1 second. You really do, because I do believe, like, it literally comes down to 1 second off of this, but 284 to 100, and it will be contested. So we are for sure going to be going to a fresh hill, and obviously all eyes on DeTox. He's going to be the man to shut down the rotation before it can even get started. He'll get some splash damage, 1 more torque remaining. He'll send it on the ground. Jaled runs into it, but he's going to be just fine. Just 3 points away from victory. It's going to be RushieZ in 300 to 100. Hell of a victory to answer back in map 4.
Yep. Map number 4 going over to RushieZ, and we got ourselves a surprise game number 5 on our hands. And I beg the question, does RushieZ have the momentum back on their side after losing Vasgar? Luckily for every one of us and you guys at home, we don't have to wait long to figure out the conclusion of this matchup, because right after this commercial break, we have map number 5.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to an exciting series going to map 5 between Team Queso and RushieZ. Jacob, I mean, we really are watching 2 powerhouse teams fight. Granted, if you look at the stats, you might be a bit surprised this going to map 5. You've got Team Queso, who's number 8 in standings in Pro League, going against the Titan of RushieZ, who's undefeated and number 1 in Pro League, yet here we are going the distance.
Yeah, RushieZ will not go down. RushieZ will not die. He was the player to watch for a reason. 18 elims, 8 deaths, 16 assists, almost 20,000 damage, sitting at 19,355, 15 caps, 1 break. He's doing everything his team needs him to do and more. But I'm just hoping when it comes to both of these teams, with the gas prices so high, that none of them let up off the gas, because I am thoroughly entertained.
I am hugely entertained. RushieZ 18 and 8, 16 assists, 19,000 damage done. You might be thinking, I've seen higher damage done. Sure, you've seen higher damage done, but have you seen higher damage done in a map that went 300 to 100? You'd be hard pressed to see that. That was an incredible performance from him, and not to mention Avexys. Avexys 13 kills, 9 deaths. Jacob, he had 23 assists. Everybody from RushieZ were shooting for each other. They were controlling their lanes effectively, and they were decimating Team Queso. RushieZ takes the stumble on Clocktower and Vasgar, but they pick themselves up on map number 4. They win 300 to 100. That's what you need to do as a competitor to give you the edge back heading into the final map.
Yeah, and there's one player, since we're throwing out stat lines, that was a big reason why Team Queso won the 2 maps that they did. That was Cristalize. And this one, he was a shell of himself. 318 and 14. So obviously there might be some eliminations that went to the wayside. You know, you're leaving them down and things like that. But Cristalize, when he goes off, the team is performing. When Sleeafer is going off, these guys are performing well as a cohesive unit. It starts at the top and it starts with the leaders. So coming into this final map in the series, if Team Queso has any chance, it starts with Cristalize and Sleeafer. They have to lead by example and show the young guns how it done. You alleviate that pressure, and it allows them to start making those high risk, high reward moves and come out on top.
So same storyline that I had going into Vasgar. You've got RushieZ, who hasn't lost checkout in Split 3. You've got Team Queso, who hasn't won checkout in Split 3. But I say that only for context, but I mean, we know reality is it clearly doesn't matter, because Team Queso won Vasgar 5-1 for the very first time in Split 3 against a team that had yet to lose Vasgar. So heading into checkout, this truly is anybody's game. But the thing that I've got to ask you, Jacob, who has the most composure here? Because that's going to be the deciding factor in my mind.
I want to say RushieZ does. Honestly, overall, I think RushieZ has more composure. But I think that changes moment to moment depending on what happens to make them lose that composure. If it's a big deflating play, I can see them get down on themselves. But if something's small, I can see them kind of bouncing back up. But a switch of a strats, 3 over for both of these teams. RushieZ getting those frags, immediately trying to use them to fight while getting flanked. Sleeafer goes down for a second. INZEM taking majority of the control, but they have no place to go but forward because the flank is still there in the form of Jaled.
Oh, and he is trying his best to get any amount of damage. I thought he was going to have a tremendous impact in the way that fight went, but RushieZ's momentum pushed them forward, and they never looked back. What a round that is for RushieZ. Even when they're getting flanked, they still manage to win it in great fashion. Nobody dies off. Solid start.
Even getting the sniper in the hands, and that's one thing. Even though RushieZ, another ace. RushieZ with an ace. RushieZ got an ace. He got
his third one in the series.
He snatched him up. They weren't all his, but he definitely snatched them up.
Talk about padding his stats.
Ate him up like chicken nuggets.
That is your third ace. What'd you say?
He ate him up like chicken nuggets. I know RushieZ loves chicken nuggets.
Exactly. Chicken shrimp, chicken nuggets, chicken anything, man. RushieZ, he's all about that life, and clearly all about the aces, man. I'm so blown away with the way he's been playing, but hey, is it going to be enough? That's only one round. You got to replicate it. Nice snipe. That's only a body. However, problems nade in hand. Honestly, use it here exactly. Throws it at RushieZ. RushieZ easily gets away. He'll take some damage, but he wants this kill, and I don't blame him. Nade is also going to be out, and nades are gone. So at this point in time, RushieZ do get first blood. They should be able to convert it to a win. You got Team Queso who's pinned in electronics.
And they use absolutely everything. Problems went down with the frags. You see Avexys angling his camera to see if they're there. Cristalize forced out an INZEM, so he only has one. So even though it's a 4v3, Cristalize can lock down an angle with the INZEM. But the rest of his team, it's going to come down to Jaled and Sleeafer, how well they work together when overtime pops.
Overtime might pop relatively soon. Avexys, watch your corner though, brother. That's the guy you don't want to die. He has the sniper, and he does stay alive. Only one more bullet left in the chamber, however, for Team Queso, at least from their perspective. I mean, they're doing pretty decently well, and Jaled found a way to, pretty much join his teammates. I was kind of worried about him being locked in on the lower end. I thought for sure DeTox was going to keep him in check from the platform, but no, he breaks away. And at the overtime hill is going to be in electronics. RushieZ might be at a bit of a disadvantage, but Avexys, I think, is backing up for the extra ammunition on the sniper, and then he's going to go forward.
Yeah. Using every single resource. See DeTox waiting for the INZEM as well. I love this. Sleeafer has no choice. They're trying to take what they can get. Great flash by INZEM, but it's not enough. This one's going to come down to a 3v3, but DeTox with those INZEMs moving up onto Jaled rather quickly. Overthrows it onto Cristalize. Hits him right in the dome piece, but a 2v2 is going down. Sleeafer makes him play towards the side. Jaled makes one of his own, and the final down's on RushieZ, and Jaled lets him know with the L on the forehead. This round is ours.
I am so impressed. Jaled went from being pinned in a corner to being the hero and the last one standing in the overtime hill. And it's so amazing that RushieZ still hasn't died even though he loses the round.
Can't die. He won't die.
Because I will take the L before I die.
Right in his
just straight
face,
up. Ugh. Big play from Sleeafer. Huge play from Sleeafer. And an even bigger play from Jaled to capitalize off of that chaos to kill Avexys. Smokes are down. This makes things chaotic, especially for Jaled. But Jaled stands. Jaled stands and gives RushieZ his first death. Sleeafer was dropped off a little bit earlier, and RushieZ is looking to make a move on Sniper. Avexys has extended himself a little bit too far out, but he stays alive.
And playing it perfect on the side of Team Queso, the give and take, the push and pull. They know that the Lancer is there. They cannot pick up the Sniper unless they go down, unless they overstay on that back lane. Everybody backtracking, making sure that they have the advantage. I will say, though, DeTox having that INZEM a little scary and concerning, especially if he's trying to break out with it. But that's going to be a dud for the INZEM, but a perfect execution in terms of getting a Sniper in Avexys' hands.
2v3, Avexys sniper in hand like we've seen, but we kind of seen how this played out last time. Team Queso did a wonderful job in overtime, but should play a little bit differently this time around because RushieZ has priority on the overtime hill, and Team Queso, it's so difficult from their perspective to break this hill and break this setup. even sniper aside, I would even give Team Queso ensigns. It just very rarely do you see problems or Jaled or anybody from Team Queso's position break the defensive setup. Nice shot from Avexys. Jaled will die. Problems now will back away, but RushieZ is on the hunt. That is going to drop them, and RushieZ will recover and take a 2-1 lead.
And that was such a good looking round, but I like the back and forth using the ensign, even though he was never really thinking that ensign would get them the actual elim. The ensign's purpose was to get every player off of that corner, so that way there's only a possibility of one Lancer looking at him. That was just absolute smarts at its finest.
Go, go,
All right, RushieZ now up 2-1. Recovered quite well. Jaled, he will join his teammates in the 4v4. He's been doing an excellent job fighting for the nades up top, but in case looking to switch things up. INZEM, though, getting first blood on the Sleeafer. Sleeafer, I believe, has been first blooded pretty consistently, so he's clearly doing something that RushieZ is capitalizing on. But Problems says, no worries, brother, I got your back, and he's going to pick up 2. INZEM last alive. Team Queso can win this round.
I know you say he picked up 2, but that was another team kill. Is that 4? What is that, 5 total overall?
Who team killed who?
Has a problem. It was somebody on RushieZ just chunked his teammate in the back while he was getting pushed. INZEM just trying to bait out some shots, give and take, trying to get the separation into 2 separate 1v1s. It's definitely there. He just has to figure out a way to take advantage of it, because Team Queso is not giving him any inches. Every single time a player's stuck in a 1v1, they just backtrack and don't let that be a possibility. And now they just reunite as 2 rounds apiece in our game number 5. Reflection. I told you this was going to be entertaining.
Yep. Good call on the team kill, by the way. I did not see that. We'll get a replay from that moment. So Problems picks up 1. And was it DeTox and RushieZ? It was DeTox who killed RushieZ. That is highly unfortunate. They were in a spot that was still tricky to win, but I mean, that team kill pretty much solidified and allowed Problems to absolutely definitively win that fight up top. That team kill could come to haunt RushieZ in the end. RushieZ with nades in hand. Team Queso, they prioritize the bottom end.
Ooh, they're trying to angle out Cristalize. Avexys, the damage is there from RushieZ. They lose DeTox in the frame, but frags are there from RushieZ. 2 of them going out, unable to get the actual elimination, but the damage is there. They're trying to follow it up with even more Lancer fire, but this one's going to come down to a little bit of a stalemate. Sniper in the hands of Sleeafer, and that's going to be the big power weapon. The only real difference maker between these 2 teams.
Tense moment, for sure. First time we really get to see Sleeafer flex the sniper on this map, Jacob. Seen him do an incredible job with snipe on previous maps, but will he be able to replicate that success here? Really, the biggest victim that he can potentially take out should be RushieZ, would have to assume. And does RushieZ have ensigns in his hand? I don't think he does. He doesn't, but I don't know if they're on his feet either. I don't think they are.
He used those ensigns, I think, towards the back lane to try to get a cheeky kill. It got some damage. It was the middle lane and the back lane. He threw 2 separate ones trying to get those sniper player and the additional player, which is Jaled, towards the back lane. So this one's going to slow down. Ensigns are going to come up. New sniper's going to pop. And that's where for RushieZ, it's going to be a risk versus reward. How do you bait out Sleeafer's shot to give yourself the ensigns so that way you can use them to kind of... Ooh, no. Ooh, why are you moving?
I told you he might be the first victim. I am surprised he exposed himself, though, in that moment. Like, he has to know.
I was watching it. I don't even know how he got the headshot. That's low ground to high ground.
Yep.
Enemy mark!
He manages to do it. Lining up another one. Sleeafer, that's 2 for 2, Jacob. Can we get 3 for 3? Potentially. And either way, hey, whether he did it or not, he picks up the final kill. He did. He got the 3 for 3. He did get it.
I really don't know how RushieZ got sniped there. He probably thought since he had the high ground, it didn't matter how much he was moving left and right. But yep. Every time you peek to the other corner, you reload. Exactly. Ooh. Your character does an animation where a pixel is leaning out of the cover, and with a sniper, all you need is 1 pixel.
As you know, man, gamers, it's hard to keep those fingers still. You know, sometimes you just got to put the controller down and just say, all right, cool, I'm just going to chill out. Look at Sleeafer like a bat out of hell. He's going to pick up first blood onto INZEM. Now 4v3. Sniper in his hand once again. We'll have a bit of a reset. The only benefit is DeTox did kill Sleeafer, so at least he'll take him out. And excuse me, Cristalize has the sniper in hand. But, I mean, whether it's Sleeafer or Cristalize, the headshots keep coming.
DeTox almost felt that same pain. Now you learned your lesson. minimize the movements, but you can't minimize it when you got INZEM chucked at you from a mile away. RushieZ with the misroll right into Problem's hands. Team Queso, map number 5, win 3 straight rounds and have a 4-2 lead over the undefeated RushieZ.
I am blown away. Like, this is just craziness, Jacob. This is craziness. 2 rounds away for Team Queso to beat the #1 team in Pro League and give them their first loss. If you asked me if this was possible, I would have told you no. After all, my prediction, I went with RushieZ, and I did that confidently, but the opportunity's here. Now it's just about keeping that gas pedal to the floor. Sleeafer once again going to be able to pick up that sniper. Instants are going to be into the hands of RushieZ though. And INZEM is going to throw him out, but it's not going to be useful as Avexys though will pick up a couple. 4v3. Sleeafer needs a connection now.
Sleeafer has that one little patch of fire is burning Sleeafer just a little bit. Has to be careful though, because if he takes some damage from that and they push up, he might not expect it. He could go down, but as the dust settles just a little bit, RushieZ have a 4v3 advantage. They're giving Sleeafer the flexibility angle, so if anybody goes out wide, they're gonna have to deal with him. DeTox takes that short moment, and he gets tagged up, but that's gonna be a down. 3v3 ensuing. Everybody making a rotation, but RushieZ, they get a little antsy, shut down yet again. A 4v3 turning into a 3v2.
I mean, they had to make the push. They had to try. No. You got to capitalize off that body, plus a massive shot of the RushieZ. Surely this round is over, and it will be. Team Queso's on map point.
Ole, 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 ole. Ole. Come on. I wish there was a way to put that in chat form. I know if this was LAN, come on.
Chat can do it in chat form right now, man. I mean, I guarantee you the RushieZ fans aren't going to put that, but Team Queso fans surely are going to put that in chat. Come on. Oh, vamos, Team Queso. I know my Spanish is off sometimes, but I can at least get that right. Team Queso, 1 round away from the biggest victory in their Pro League for Split 3.
Give them your vamos, everybody. And you see Sleeafer trying to get aggressive there towards the mid lane. Didn't like what he sees, so he pauses, but gets the down on the DeTox. Problem gets first blooded though. Sleeafer has to rethink. He's gonna get dropped. The crossfire is there. Sleeafer goes down yet again. Sleeafer, he's gonna get eliminated. Cristalize forced to back up. Him and Jaled have to reunite towards the back lane, but a massive 4v2 advantage.
All right, this looks like a RushieZ rounds. Big shot out, but it's not gonna connect. Doesn't matter. He'll get that headshot, line it up perfectly, and RushieZ will stay alive. Now, as much as we've been pumping up Queso, this is an exciting moment for them. How many times, ladies and gentlemen, have we seen RushieZ be down 2-0 in a series or be down on a map 5 and come back to win it in a round 11? I can't even count on my 10 fingers and toes how many times I've seen that. So RushieZ, as long as they're alive, they can still make it happen.
That's at least 20. 10 fingers and toes?
It's gotta be 20.
Unless you had an accident I don't know about. Whew. That's definitely a doozy. Team Queso on map point. Sleeafer changing it up. Goes towards plat side. Cristalize gets first blood. That could be the opening for a big upset victory for Team Queso.
Right, 4v3 now. They managed to get away. Sleeafer has the incense. If I'm him, just saving him. I'm just waiting, but he sees an opportunity. He takes it. Now he has 1 more left. INZEM will have to reposition. Queso trying to bait out anybody from RushieZ to make that push forward. Sleeafer, he'll go ahead and reposition with the instant. RushieZ, he's going to be tagged up a little bit. Can the Lancer shots take him down? Yes, it will, but he's going to be picked back up. INZEM, he's going to be in trouble. That's going to be a team pickup. Now they're split. INZEM's dead. 3v1. RushieZ last alive, and RushieZ trying to bait and switch. He can't do it. And 6-3. Team Queso will beat RushieZ 3-2.
I told you, Ole, my brother, they did it. They complete the victory. Team Queso takes down the #1 team in the regular season. And let me add a little bit more sauce to that and let you know that that inches them 1 up more towards the bottom half of the leaderboard, escaping that relegation threat.
I'm so impressed. I mean, Team Queso, hell of a performance. Are you kidding me? You win 2 maps that RushieZ was undefeated on. RushieZ was undefeated in general. We already knew that. But you beat him on Vasgar 5-1 when you hadn't won Vasgar throughout Split 3. And then you beat him on Checkout, where RushieZ hadn't lost either, and you hadn't won. I mean, 2 maps that should have benefited RushieZ and should have went their way, went to the way of Team Queso. Say what you will about the series. RushieZ, not playing up to, the standard of Team Queso because maybe they were looking down on. I don't think any of that is the case. I genuinely don't. I think Team Queso just played a hell of a series and they wanted it more.
No, they definitely did. And that man Sleeafer, big Sleeafer,
Yeah.
stepping up to the plate. Even though it was Cristalize who got first blood on that final round, it was a great distraction by Sleeafer. He hopped up into the plat, something different that he hadn't done in previous rounds to really take control. Team Queso did their homework, and it paid off with an A+.
I mean, A+. Hey, higher than an A+, if you could even go that high. I mean, I didn't do too well in school, so I don't know if that's a possibility, but maybe some of you educated people in chat can let me know what's better than an A+, because at this point, Team Queso absolutely earned it. The number 8 seed beating the number 1 seed in Pro League. I mean, talk about poetic. And again, we've always set up the storyline of Team Queso. If Sleeafer, if problems, if their internet connection is fine, how well will Team Queso be able to play? And this was an excellent example as to what they truly can bring. This team kill, though, was so tough to watch. DeTox killing RushieZ. But it was heaven sent for problems. I mean, he got the finish.
And si se puede. We can do it as a Latin American community as the season winds down. These are our final moments. And I say our because, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Latin American as well. And I do believe we can win a championship, especially if you've shown you could stop perfection dead in its track with undefeated RushieZ on 2 of their undefeated maps. That gives me so much hope. I'm going to celebrate with them after the day.
I think you have to, man. And you're not even a cheese fan, but you know what? I honestly, at this point, bro, you be eating a quesadilla. Okay, Jacob, like you be eating some fondue because Team Queso just gave you some newfound glory of what cheese is at its best possible state. Bro, I'm so pumped up. Like, I am so pumped. Now, granted, I'll bring it down to reality, sober it up a little bit. That loss for RushieZ, I don't think it's going to hurt them that much. I really don't even think it's going to hurt them mentally that much. RushieZ knows that they're still, one of the most consistent teams, one of the best teams in Pro League. I'll see the standings, obviously, at the end of the night. I'm not sure where they're going to stack up, maybe still be first place. But the point is, like, RushieZ is still one of the most dominant teams we have. Team Queso beats them. That's great. They need to do it to come again major time. But, I mean, for Team Queso, I mean, this is just so huge. I mean, the fact that they did it on Vasgar and Checkout, like the rest, they win the series, but Vasgar and Checkout just stands out to me. It's just insane. Just insane.
I feel like
I'm at a loss.
They're at a high. They're on the moon right now. The moon is made of cheese, and they're just living on it. They're just on a high right now. But this is something I feel like a lot of people could have maybe saw coming a little bit. I don't think it was a full-on surprise because we talked about every single week this team is improving. We talked about what happens when Sleeafer's able to stay in a full game, no connection problems.
Yeah.
This is exactly what happens. They're a dark horse. They're a team that could surprise people come major time.
100%. And we have a lot of those teams. We truly do. We always talk about how each split is so competitive. And last split was truly competitive in terms of the top 5 teams, but we really didn't have any other team outside of those top 5 teams that truly made an impact or would make an impact ultimately. And we knew that. But here, I think things are a little bit closer, especially on the bottom end of things, and Team Queso being seed 8, beating seed 1 truly shows that, okay, this split is very competitive, and any team can truly beat any team. And that was represented here with Team Queso getting a victory over RushieZ. So hell of a job. I mean, well done. Whether it's Fury won yesterday getting their victory, or of course Team Queso getting their victory here, the bottom end teams are truly beating the top end teams. And like you said, bracket buster, dark horse coming to the major. Anything is possible at this point in time. The night is still young, believe it or not. We have one more series still to get through. This next one is going to be equally as fun. United will face off against Rebel. NA versus Latin America. One you don't want to miss out on. It's coming up after the break.